his hand locked around my ankle.
He clearly want more. He want more.
Like this?
Break his nose. Thank you. Boom, boom, boom. Kick him in the nose.
Screamed, releasing me.
How's it hanging? It is Catz React, and welcome to some scary animated stories. Now, you might not know this about me, but you know, I'm the type of person where I can't go to sleep without watching something, and I can't eat without watching something. So usually when I go to sleep, I watch these type of videos. I know it's like, you know, scary, you know, blah blah blah. It could give you nightmares, but you know, it really stimulates me and helps me fall asleep. So, you know, I figured, why not share the glory with y'all? You know, put y'all onto some like horror stories or something like that. But anyways, let's just get into it.
I needed the money. That's how it started.
A
friend told me about an old man who needed help with paperwork. He was offering good money.
Was it
for
really
just a few
paperwork?
hours of work. It sounded too easy, and I wasn't in a position to be picky.
I feel on
His apartment
that.
was small and smelled
Ugh.
stale, like damp wood or something else I couldn't.
I don't know why they always make them look like
Greeted me with a weak
grotesque.
smile, his glasses slipping down his nose. He spoke almost.
And you
too
see his
kindly.
teeth?
He told me to sit, gave me a stack of documents, and left the room.
He can't do
I
them
should have paid
himself?
more attention to how quiet it was after that. For a while, I just worked. The papers were dull numbers and names I didn't understand.
Yeah, I couldn't do work like that.
Every
You know,
now
I have
and
a
then
short
heard
attention
small
span.
noises coming from the hallway. At first, I ignored them. A house
It's
settled,
time to
maybe
go.
pipes. But then there was something else. A wet sound followed by a muffled sob.
It sounds like he's
I hesitated.
playing with his
He had been
feces
going
or
too long.
something.
My fingers hovered over the pages, heart pounding.
Is he good?
Something wasn't right. The noises got worse. A soft chewing, then a gulp.
Is he eating?
Then
Oh
crying.
God, he's eating
I
somebody.
told myself it wasn't my business, but my body had other ideas. My legs moved on their own as I stood up.
So
I had to check.
this is what he's doing instead of doing his actual work.
I walked down the short hallway.
He's over here
The
eating
smell
people.
grew stronger. A metallic rancid stench that made my stomach tighten.
Yeah,
I
first of
reached
all,
half-
if the house vibes aren't right, why are you even stepping into the house? The moment the house looks creepy or eerie or like too quiet, I'm stepping out the door. I'm sorry, you know, you have to like have some type of like I don't standards, like, you know, if the house isn't up to your standards or it doesn't look safe enough, then if you don't know this even if you know the person and it gives you weird vibes, leave, because like you're gonna get put in situations like this. You know, don't ignore the red flags.
Open door. The light inside was dim, casting long, strange shadows. I shouldn't have looked inside.
You
He was on the floor, and nothing but his underwear hunched over a pile
okay?
of
That's
raw red meat.
that is disgusting.
He was chewing, gnawing, stuffing chunks into his mouth. with
And you was
shaking
about to be
hand.
his next victim.
Blood smeared his fingers, his chin dripping onto the floor.
It's time to go, girl.
The meat
Time
wasn't
to
just
go.
meat. I could see fingers. He turned to me, eyes wide, tears streaming down his face.
Was that his wife or something?
I didn't mean to.
Yes, you did.
I couldn't wait anymore. His voice was thick with sobs and food.
Okay, it's time to go, girl.
Bits of flesh
Time to
clung
go.
his lips as he wiped his mouth with the back of his hand. I couldn't move. My brain screamed at me.
Nah, I definitely
but my
would've
legs
moved.
refused. I was waiting for the right moment. For you. He swallowed. My stomach turned.
So he was trying to eat her
Took a
instead,
step back.
but couldn't wait
He let out a
to
broken
eat
whimper,
some
reaching
somebody.
forward with bloody hands. Please, just go back to the table. Let me finish. That's when it
Finish?
hit me. He wasn't talking about his meal. He was talking about me. He was crying because he wanted to eat me,
But
he
couldn't
hadn't
wait.
found the right moment. I interrupted him before he could make his move. I turned and ran.
Yeah, that's the best thing to
His
do.
wails filled the apartment. I heard him scrambling to his feet, knocking over something.
Some people
His
just,
footsteps
like,
heavy and uneven.
don't
I grasped
deserve
the
to be
table,
on this planet.
sending papers flying. My fingers fumbled for something, anything to use as a weapon. My hands wrapped around a heavy glass ashtray. He was almost.
I mean, I guess that could
I
work.
turned and threw it with everything I had.
You should have thrown the
It
table at
smashed
him.
against his shoulder, making him stagger. He let out a shriek, more frustration than pain.
Yeah.
You don't understand. You have to stay. Please don't leave me.
No, thank you. You know,
I bolted for the living room.
I got work in the morning.
was
You know,
locked.
it's time to go.
The windows were covered. My hands shook as I fought with the lock, but he was too fast.
Jump out the
A chair
window.
crashed behind me as he lunged, grabbing my arm. His grip was slick with blood, but strong. Too strong for a man his age. His nails.
Oh yeah,
dug
he's
into
on
my
some type
skin.
of drugs or something like that.
You don't have to be scared. It doesn't have to hurt. His breath was hot against my ear. My stomach turned. He tried to drag me back down the hallway toward the
Yeah, it's time to
room
go to
where
the
he was
kitchen and
beating
grab a
somebody
knife.
else just a few seconds ago. My feet slid on the floor, kicking wildly. My knee hit the table. My hand grabbed a lamp.
Yeah,
I swung it backward.
thank you.
The heavy base slamming into his body.
Finish him
He let out
now.
a strangled cry and loosened his grip just enough for me to break free. I ran for the nearest window, shoving aside. a
Thank
curtain.
you, thank you,
My
thank you.
fingers
Jump out the
found
window.
latch, but he was on me again.
Yeah, he's about to take a
grabbing
bite.
my waist, yanking me back. I kicked wildly, trying to
Thank
claw at
you.
anything. My nails raked
Ooh.
across his face. He roared, shoving me hard against the wall. My vision blurred for a second.
We can't pass out in
Head
here.
throbbed.
Don't do that.
I turned, hands grabbing at the nearest object. A heavy glass vase.
There we go. Finish him.
I swung it with all my strength, smashing it into his face.
If you don't kick him in the
It
balls,
shattered, sending shards everywhere. He stumbled back, clutching his bleeding forehead.
yeah, it's time to give up,
I
guy.
didn't wait. I ran for the window, wrenching it open. I remember feeling the cold of the wind. That
That's
was
what you
the
get.
moment when I really felt free, even though I still wasn't.
Yeah, he was
I
persistent
swung one
about
leg
it.
over, but then his hand locked around my ankle.
He clearly want more.
You
He
can't
want
leave
more.
me like this.
Break his nose.
My foot
Thank you.
slammed into my
Boom,
face.
boom, boom. Kick him in the
He
nose.
screamed, releasing me.
Like, let me go. I
fell,
told you the
letting
first
hard
time.
ground below.
I told you the second
Pain
time.
shot through my ankle, but I didn't stop. I crawled, then ran, barefoot, bleeding, but alive. Behind me, his wails turned into sobs.
You going to jail, buddy?
He was caught a few days later.
A few
Not because
days.
of me. The police had been watching him for months. They found bodies.
So they let that
Men,
happen?
women, children. He confessed.
Not my place, I
to
guess.
everything.
Not my place.
His name was Andrei Chikatilo, the butcher of Rostov. He had killed at least 52 people. I had almost
How?
53. I gave my statement. The officers took my
Like, I feel
clothes,
like-
checked me for
It would be very hard to get away with one murder, but like getting away with like 52, like that does not seem possible to me. But it depends on the era or like time this was in, because you know, back in the days it wasn't as easy to find murderers, and you know, even today, you know, I believe it's like here in the US, like it's around like 50% or less than 50% gets solved. So you know, I guess it is understandable. It's still
Injuries
like a big
asked
number.
me the same question
It's just
over
shocking.
and over. Did he say anything? Did he hurt you? How did you get away?
I
answered, but
put my
I was barely
foot in
there.
his face.
My mind was still trapped in that apartment, in that room with him kneeling on the floor, chewing, crying. They executed him in
Thank you.
1994.
Thank you.
A bullet to the head. Quick.
By
compared to
firing
what he had done
squad,
to his
yes.
victims. I never went back to that city. I
I would never
took another
either.
job like that. Sometimes I still hear his voice in my dreams, crying, begging me not to leave. But I did,
Like
and
that's
I lived.
some type of insanity right there.
This story is based on the crimes of Andrei
Of course he looks like
the
that.
butcher of Rostov. Between 1978 and 1990, he brutally murdered at
Ooh,
least
was that him?
52 people, most of them young women and children.
Of course, children.
Chikatilo lured his victims into isolated areas, often forests or abandoned buildings, where he would attack them with extreme violence. He stabbed, mutilated, and in many cases, cannibalized parts of their bodies.
Like, I don't get it. Like,
His
what
methods were
makes
erratic and frenzied, making it
you think, you know, let me taste some human flesh? Like, I'm not about to get into it. It's in the mind of, I'd say crazy people, but they know what they're doing. You know, I guess sociopath would be the better word, but like,
It's difficult for investigators to link the murders initially. His ability
How?
to blend into society as a seemingly ordinary man allowed him to evade capture for over a decade. As authorities struggled to catch him, Chikatilo continued his sadistic
okay, I guess
spree,
the time
leaving behind scenes of
is
unspeakable
understandable.
horror. He targeted vulnerable individuals, often tricking them into following him with promises of candy, toys, or work opportunities. Once alone, he would unleash his rage, deriving pleasure from their suffering.
This
The
is actually
brutality of his
disgusting.
killings escalated over time, with some victims showing signs of prolonged torture before death. Despite multiple wrongful arrests, forensic advancements and psychological profiling eventually led to his capture in 1990.
I just wish they could have caught him like sooner, because like
Chikatilo was executed by a
again,
single gunshot to the head in 1994.
52 victims is
Hey
a
guys,
lot.
You noticed that only a small portion of you are subscribed to the channel.
Yeah, you go
If you really
subscribe
enjoy
to
our
them if
stories,
you
please follow
if
us
this
and like
story
the
wasn't
video.
too brutal for you.
It's free and it really helps us a lot to keep
But I think he
growing.
got off too easy.
We
They should
upload
bring back
videos
like
daily
the
and
guillotine,
interact a lot with
you
our
know, the
community, as we
blade to the
upload
neck.
stories that you recommend us, and once a month we upload your own stories. And to those of you who are already subscribed, we appreciate
You go do that.
all your likes, comments, and your constant support. You are as much a part of SSG Animations as we are.
I was never meant to be happy.
I feel her on
think I
that.
always knew it. Even when I was a kid, life kept showing me that no matter how much I fought,
You always get
it would
knocked
always hit
back
me
down.
hard. My parents died when I was young.
Oh,
I was
okay,
sent to a
yeah.
foster
Maybe
home,
she went through a
where I
little bit
learned
more.
facts that no one really cared. The moment I was old enough, I left and never looked back. I thought I had something good when I met him. He was charming, sweet. At
That's
first,
only their disguise.
but monsters don't show their teeth until they know you have nowhere to run.
They wait
From
till
the
you're
beginning
vulnerable.
started, I told myself it was just a bad moment, that he was stressed, that it would stop.
No,
It never
no,
did.
it doesn't.
So I ran. Again. This time with nothing but a bag and a handful of fake passports, as well as the hope that maybe, just maybe, I could disappear. I'd been walking.
But
on
where? To where?
The cold bit through my jacket, and the wind howled around me as I reached the shore. The waves crashed violently, and for a moment, I let myself believe I was free. That's when I saw him. A
Oh,
man
this is
standing near
the
water,
monster.
watching me. He had a strange stillness to him.
I mean, the other guy
He
was a
waiting.
monster, but this one's gonna
I
be
ignored him,
the
But I
monster.
could feel his eyes following me. When he finally approached, he spoke softly. I wasn't in the mood to talk, but something about his tone made me hesitate. He offered me a place to stay. Just for
Don't
the
do
night.
it. Don't do
The
it.
idea of warmth and food was tempting. I told myself I could leave whenever I wanted. I was wrong.
But
The house was
sometimes,
small,
you know,
so
it's
quick.
like they say, you know, if it's too good to be true, it most likely is. You know, always don't look at things at face value. You know, have some sort of like suspicion.
Included. Perfect for someone who didn't want to be found. The moment I stepped inside, I instantly regretted it. The air was
It's
stale.
always the smell.
Nothing had been touched.
Like I
for
said,
years.
it's the vibe check.
There
You got to
was
give a house a
something
vibe
natural
check.
about how clean everything was, like a place prepared for someone who never arrived. He watched me closely, too closely. His movements were slow, deliberate.
It's time to get out.
He asked me questions, but never too many at once. He smiled often. but
The yellow
warmth
teeth
never
is
reached his
crazy.
eyes. My skin crawled. I knew I needed to leave.
Yes,
I waited for
yes.
the right moment. Waited for him to go to another room. I reached for the door. I barely
it's
touched
locked.
the handle before something
Ooh.
hard pressed against my face.
Okay.
A cloth soaked in something sharp and
She was
chemical.
quick, but he was
My
quicker.
vision blurred. My body collapsed. I woke up tied to a chair. The room was
Yikes, I
dark.
do not know if I could finish through these stories. I can do scary stories, but like I can't do gruesome stories. Like gruesome stuff makes me sick. Like please just don't be too gory, please. Please.
Damn.
I don't know if
My arms
I'll be
ached
able to
from
finish
the
this.
ropes. My breath came fast, shallow. The smell of dust and something rotten lingered in the air.
I'm already
was
scared
there,
for you.
Sitting in front of me, calm as ever. His voice was gentle, almost soothing, as he explained that I wouldn't be leaving, that I was special, that he had chosen me. I begged, screamed, thrashed against my
You need to be
restraints.
chosen for
He
jail.
never lost his composure. He simply watched, waiting for me to tire myself out. He stood up and took something from the table beside him. A small brush, a compact case.
Okay, a different type of crazy.
Makeup. He opened it carefully, dipping the brush in soft pink powder. When he leaned in, his breath was warm against my skin.
Ooh.
He whispered as he painted my cheeks, telling me how perfect I was, how lucky I should feel. My stomach churned.
Please stop.
I tried to move, but the ropes dug into my flesh, burning my wrists. He noticed my discomfort and ran his fingers along my face.
Please leave.
His touch disturbingly tender.
Ugh.
My mind screamed at me to fight, but I was trapped. He wanted me still, obedient. I had to play along until I found a way.
Yeah,
The
you just need
process was
to
slow, meticulous.
process the
He painted my
situation,
lips
you know. Always take a look at your surroundings. If she could rock the chair, you know, if there's any like broken glass on the floor, you know, maybe knock the chair over and like try to like crawl to the broken glass so like you could like unsnag the rope. But like it's all about like taking in your surroundings and like seeing what can help you.
Smoothed my hair back and adjusted my posture like I was nothing but a doll. He told me about his wife, how she used to talk back, how he fixed that.
He killed his wife.
He told me about the others, the ones before me. I struggled, but he tightened his grip on my chin, holding me still.
Why though? Why?
His nails dug into my skin, his voice never rising above a whisper. He liked obedience. He liked silence. I had no choice but to give him what
And
he
this is
wanted.
why some
he
people are
finally let
destined to
go,
be alone forever.
I felt the sting of tears burning my eyes. My pulse pounded in my ears. My body shook, but I forced myself to think. I couldn't stay here. I couldn't end like the others.
Yeah, that
His
was
eyes gleamed with
obvious.
satisfaction. He adjusted the bow in my hair, then stepped back, admiring his work. I knew, in that moment,
Like,
that he wasn't going to let me live.
have something to
Not
do with
for
your
long.
life. Why be
I
a
had to
psychopath?
act
Why
now. Well, I
why
still
do
had a
this?
chance.
Like,
My
what's the
chance
value
quickly turned
value
away
in
from
doing this? I'm sorry,
distracted by
I'm getting a
something
little
on the
bit
table.
too
I
heated.
threw my head forward, crashing it against his.
I mean-
he reeled back cursing, and I threw myself sideways.
That was
knocking the
good, but
chair
like,
over.
you see,
Pain shot through my
knocking the
ribs,
chair over,
but
like I said.
ignored it. I writhed.
But what's gonna
trying to loosen
happen?
The ropes. I crawled toward the
Oh,
stairs,
okay.
dragging the chair with me.
My
My
bad.
fingers trembled as I struggled against the knots. I made it halfway up before his hand clamped around my ankle. He yanked me
Yikes.
back, slamming me against the floor. His breathing was heavy now. His composure
Yeah.
slipping. He left the room for a moment.
I mean, he never really
when
had
he
any
returned,
composure. He
he
was just
carried
faking
a
it.
gas can.
Oh,
My
he's gonna
throat
set it on
closed.
fire.
The sharp scent filled the air. I knew what was coming before
Or is he
even
setting the
struck
house on
match.
fire?
I screamed, kicked, tried to roll away, but the liquid seeped into my skin. The fumes filling my lungs. He
Yeah.
stood above me, silent now. Then, he did it. The fire spread fast, devouring my skin.
I mean,
filling
there's
my
a window.
lungs
You,
with
you,
unbearable
you can
heat.
jump out the window.
The pain was beyond anything I could describe. Beyond anything
Yeah,
I
as
could
someone
endure.
who's recently been through a fire, it's definitely not the best. It's definitely a very scary moment, and especially the smoke. Like, I forgot. I think it's like said that, you know, the smoke is the most dangerous part of the fire. Like, you can't breathe, you can't see, or at least I couldn't, you know. But it's a very terrifying thing to go through. So this part, you know, I get the terror behind
I
it.
screamed, but the sound was lost beneath the roar of the flames. I prayed for it to end.
Hopefully
I
she
don't
could
know
jump
how
out the
long it
window.
lasted. Time lost meaning. My body stopped feeling. Everything faded into black.
Yeah, she probably
When he was
passed
done,
out.
He carried what was left of me and tossed it aside like garbage. A burned corpse. Another
She
forgotten
died?
victim. My life had been nothing but violence. And in the moment I thought I'd escaped, fate reminded me that I never had a chance.
Wow, that's
I was never meant to be free. The waves crashed against the shore as my remains were discarded. My story was never going to have a happy ending.
that's wow.
Tried to break free. But in the end, I was just another name that no one would remember. The story is based on the real case of a woman found burned on a...
That's actually really sad. You know, it's sad that some people lives are like this, like they never really found any type of happiness and they died before having found that happiness. You know, it's kind of just sad to see, you know, that happen.
On a beach with the labels of her clothes cut off. In 2017, the charred body of a woman was discovered on a beach in the coastal town of Almeria, Spain. The victim, who appeared to be in her early 30s, was severely burned, with almost no identifying features remaining. What made the case even more eerie was the fact that the labels on her clothing had been meticulously cut off, a detail that suggested the perpetrator was trying to conceal her identity. The manner in which
Hopefully
the body
they
was
found
disposed
this
of, with the
crazy
intention to erase any
psychopath.
trace of who she was, shocked the local community. The investigation into the case revealed little at first, as there were no immediate suspects and the cause of death could not be definitively determined. The burned
Being
body
burned
was a stark indication of the cruelty
probably might be it.
involved, and the removal of clothing labels was an unsettling detail that pointed to premeditation. Authorities speculated that the woman could have been a victim of human trafficking, or that the killer had deliberately chosen to make her unidentifiable for reasons unknown. Despite extensive efforts, the woman's identity was never fully confirmed. And the case remains a tragic and unsettling mystery.
No, I was hoping he got caught. No. What is this? No, I'm going to go to sleep
I
sad.
don't usually stay out late. Routine is my comfort.
I don't either.
Stick to it.
I
But
feel him on
night,
that.
For some reason.
I feel like
took a
that's my
different route
catchphrase.
home.
Whenever somebody
Not
says something
mistake.
sad, I say I feel him on that,
Almost
because
got
I do.
killed. Madrid was quieter than usual. The streets felt empty. A few distant cars, some muffled voices from open windows. My footsteps were the only clear sound as I walked faster than normal. The alley ahead was a shortcut that I had taken before. It was dark and narrow, but it saved me a few minutes going home. I hesitated, but then I stepped in. Halfway through, something on the ground caught my eye.
What was it?
A playing card. The Six of Hearts.
Okay.
It looked out of place. I barely had time to process it before I heard the footsteps behind me.
Yeah, I would have completely
Slow
ignored it.
and deliberate. I turned around.
About to be the Joker
Man
or
stood
something.
there,
Oh,
partially lit by the dim
okay.
street light at the alley's entrance.
Why though?
He wasn't
Why?
particularly tall or muscular,
What did I do?
but something
Why
about
me?
him felt wrong. Then I saw the gun.
Is it a robbery?
Instinct screamed at me to run, but the gun was already pointed at my face.
Yeah, it's too late for that.
He didn't say anything, just stood there watching me. The silence was unbearable. My mind raced. Was this a robbery?
Nah, it's
Wasn't
probably
asking
some
for
sick
money.
thing.
Wasn't speaking at all.
What do you want, dude?
Staring. His grip on the gun.
You
was
don't know
steady,
me, I don't know you.
Too steady. Then he moved his other hand. Something flicked through the air and landed at my feet.
Oh, he's just sick.
Another
Okay,
car.
yeah. Well, they're all
There's
sick, but he's a
space.
special type of sick.
My stomach dropped.
Like I said, the
news had been
Joker.
covering him for weeks. The assassino de la baraja. Victims shot execution style, and cars left behind as a signature. I was
Ah,
looking
okay.
for him, and I was next. His finger twitched slightly on the trigger, and I could feel
But why
my
are you
heartbeat
killing?
hammering in my chest. If I moved too fast, he would shoot. If I didn't move at all,
I'm sorry. I'm a very toxic person, so, you know, I would have the toxic trait of trying to grab the gun before you shoot it. But, you know, that obviously would get me killed. And I always suggest to people, like, if you know you're in an area that is known to have robberies, make sure to, like, carry a decoy wallet. Like, have your wallet, of course, with your actual money, and then have the decoy wallet with, like, a couple of real ones, and then you throw in a few fake 20s, few fake 100s, and then, you know, boom, you know, you get to keep, and throw in, like, maybe a library card or two, you know, just to like sell it. But, like, always carry, like, a fake wallet with you, so, you know, if you do get robbed, they're gonna take the fake wallet instead of your actual money.
He would shoot anyway. I had seconds to make a choice, but my body refused to listen.
Oh,
My
he's too far
breathing
away to
became
grab the gun.
shallow, every inhale feeling like it could be my last. Then he did something unexpected. He tilted his head, studying me like he was trying to decide something.
Yeah, he's crazy.
The tension stretched, thick and unbearable. Then, in an almost casual motion, he extended his arm fully. The gun was aimed directly at my forehead.
Yikes.
I had to act. Everything slowed down.
Yeah, at this
My
point,
pulse pounded.
you gotta do something or you're gonna
I
die.
had to do something, but he was too close. If I ran, he'd shoot me in the back. If I lunged, he'd shoot me before I reached him. His finger moved on the trigger.
But still, you gotta do
I
something.
saw it. A split second before he fired, I dropped to the ground.
Ooh, okay,
Gun
nice
went
instincts.
off. A deafening crack. A burning pain
Ooh.
tore through my shoulder as I hit the pavement.
Go grab him, go grab
I
him.
missed my head. I didn't stop to feel it. I attacked him.
Yeah, that's
He
that
stumbled for a
adrenaline.
That was my chance. I scrambled to my feet and ran.
No, you're supposed to grab the gun.
Another shot ran out. Something shattered near my feet. Glass, maybe a bottle. It didn't matter. I just kept running.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can
Suddenly, I
do.
heard a third shot. The bullet struck the wall just inches from my head.
Oh, so he's a
Bits
terrible
of brick
shot.
exploded into the air. He was still firing, but his aim was getting worse.
Yeah, stormtrooper
panicked.
type of aim.
I burst into the main street. Lights, people, safety. My lungs burned. My legs shook. But I didn't stop until I was surrounded by others. I turned
What?
back. And he was gone.
Yeah, I'm surprised they're outside because, like, if he's airing out the streets, as soon as you hear a gunfire, you go inside the house. You know, you don't stay outside. So what are they
I barely
doing?
remember getting home. My hands shook so much that it was hard to unlock the door. When
Yeah,
I
I might have to-
finally
have to
stumbled
call an
inside,
Uber after that.
I locked every bolt, pressed my back against the door, and slid to the floor.
Time to call the police.
I should have called the police immediately.
Yes,
but
you should.
I was in shock.
That's
The
true.
wound on my shoulder burned, but I barely felt it.
That's it.
When I
That's the
finally picked up the
adrenaline.
phone, my voice came out shaky and weak. They arrived quickly, asked questions, wrote things down, but my description was too vague. The dim light, the adrenaline, it blurred everything together.
Yeah, that's true.
Why is everyone spiraling
Oh my
over
God,
YouTube
these
and
ads.
blockers? Like,
Days passed. The police followed up, but there was nothing solid. No security cameras or useful witnesses.
We
Just
got doorbell
my
cameras
word
nowadays, so
against the
no,
shadows.
that's a little bit harder to like
The murders
evade.
continued. This time, no survivors. No mistakes.
But
I stayed locked inside for days.
there's no reason why they
Sleep
kill.
was
They just do it to do it
impossible. I
because they
kept
get some
replaying
sick
that
pleasure
night
out
in
of
my
it.
head. The way he looked at me. The moment his finger moved. If I had reacted just a split second later, I would have just been another corpse.
Yeah, he was
with a card on my
too
chest.
close, too close.
Every time I
Had that
closed my
ultra
eyes,
instinct.
I saw him. The gun.
But yeah, he probably has PTSD.
The moment his finger tightened on the trigger. I
And
checked
probably
the locks
ruined
on my
card
door at
games for
least 10
him.
times a night. I avoided dark streets, avoided walking alone. Even in daylight.
After
I
that,
felt like I was being
I'd probably start
watched.
taking Ubers everywhere I go.
He knew I was still out there, that I'd slipped through
Hold
his
up.
finger. And then, a card appeared,
Uh oh.
slid under my door.
Wow, I did not think he would come back.
The ace of spades.
Yeah, it's time to
I
call the
froze.
police again.
He had found me. He knew where I lived.
But how?
My breathing became shallow. I grabbed the card with trembling fingers and turned it over. Nothing was written on it. Just a message I understood clearly.
But call the police. It's time
I
to
wasn't
move.
safe. I called the police immediately. They arrived within minutes, checked the area, but there was no sign of him. No security footage. No
Yeah, he kind of
fingerprints
touched.
on the card.
I mean, it's your fingerprints on the card. You kind of touched it.
That
But he
night
probably
I
wore
barely
gloves.
slept. Every sound made me jump. I stayed up until sunrise waiting for something,
I definitely would have got a
Anything
hotel or
happened.
something.
but nothing did. A week later, they caught him. His name was Alfredo Galan. His face was plastered all over the news.
Good.
When I saw his mugshot, my stomach turned. I had seen that face in the alley. He had looked at me in the eye, pulled the trigger, and missed. I thought
With
it
his
would be
terrible
a
shot
relief,
head ass.
but the fear didn't leave me.
That's yet you probably have
reality was
PTSD.
worse.
You need to go to
He
therapy
had
for
learned
that.
from his mistakes. His later victims didn't get the same chance that I did. He improved. My name never made it into the reports. I didn't want to talk about that.
Yeah, you might want to keep
I felt
yourself
that my
like
story wasn't
secretive. It was.
I
It most
didn't
definitely
feel like a
was.
survivor. I was an error, a mistake. Even after his arrest, the fear never left me. Every creak of my apartment
Yeah,
made my heart
PTSD.
race. Every unexpected noise felt like the sound of footsteps behind me.
Hopefully this person got therapy.
I had survived. I had escaped. But the thought haunted me. I wasn't just another target. I was a mistake that he learned from. The next time,
But still,
there were no
you know,
survivors.
at least you're
And
lucky to
that,
be
more
here.
than anything, is what keeps me awake at night. It's strange, but I feel guilty for surviving.
It's
Knowing
survivor's
that
guilt.
The fact that I survived helped this man to learn from me and get better. for
I mean,
killing
either
his
way, he
next
was still gonna
victims.
kill people, so it's not your fault.
This story is based on the crimes of the cardboard killer, or asesino
Cardboard killer?
de la Baraja. In the early 2000s, a serial killer terrorized Spain, leaving a chilling signature. A playing card placed next to each victim's body. His crimes spanned several years, with at least 6
7?
confirmed murders,
Okay.
primarily targeting women.
Of course.
The killer's modus operandi involved strangling his victims, often in their homes, and then placing a playing card near their bodies as a cryptic calling card. The images on the card seemed to symbolize death and chaos, fueling fear
Did it?
and speculation across the country. The killer's identity remained a mystery for a long time. as
Can
the
we see
police
his
were unable
face?
to find any clear links between the victims, apart from the playing cards. His actions were meticulously planned, often taking place in areas with little to no witness, further complicating investigations. As the case progressed, a pattern began to emerge, leading
And what was it?
investigators to suspect a connection.
Why are these
between the
things in
murders.
front
As
of-
the case, the killer taunted law
Okay.
enforcement with his cryptic symbol, which seemed to mock their efforts and deepen the fear surrounding his violent spree.
I mean, if
you
he,
need a free-
if he got away with the crime for at least like 7 years, of course he's gonna get cocky. You know, he's like, you know, y'all are doing like a bad job at catching me. But you know, again, I was hoping this would be a little fun video, but like these people are sick. I was like hoping for like one of those type of stories you could like. It says that it's a true scary story, but you always have like those hints of doubts that it's like a fake scary story. But like these are like actual real life scenarios, and like that's kind of depressing. But hopefully, like most of these type of people are put behind bars. But anyways, I'm gonna see you guys next time. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and follow my social medias down in the description. And if you have any video suggestions, comment them.